Our planet harbors a terrifying secret, one that lurks beneath the surface of our everyday lives, hidden from view but ever present in its potential for catastrophe. Hidden away in bunkers and silos, scattered across the globe, are over 15,000 nuclear weapons. These silent sentinels of destruction lie in wait, their presence a grim reminder of the fragility of peace. These are not mere bombs. They are instruments of unimaginable destruction, each capable of obliterating entire cities in a flash of blinding light and searing heat. The devastation they can unleash is beyond comprehension, turning vibrant metropolises into smoldering ruins in an instant. The United States and Russia hold the largest arsenals, with around 7,000 warheads each. These two superpowers maintain a delicate balance of terror, a relic of a bygone era that still casts a long shadow over our present. The remaining 1,000 are scattered among other nations, a stark reminder of the precarious balance of power in our world. Countries like China, France, and the United Kingdom, along with others, contribute to this global stockpile, each adding to the potential for disaster. These weapons are a legacy of the Cold War, a time when fear and paranoia pushed the world to the brink of annihilation. The arms race of that era saw the creation of these monstrous devices, each more powerful than the last, as nations vied for supremacy. Though that era has passed, the danger remains. The geopolitical landscape is still fraught with tension, and the existence of these weapons continues to pose a significant threat to global security. The specter of nuclear war, while less prominent, has not been banished. The sheer number of these weapons, poised on a hair trigger, is a chilling testament to our capacity for self-destruction. At any moment, a miscalculation, an accident, or a deliberate act could unleash a chain of events leading to unimaginable horror. The existence of these weapons begs a terrifying question: what if they were all detonated? The consequences of such an event are almost too dreadful to contemplate, a nightmare scenario that would spell the end of life as we know it. What would happen to our planet, to our civilization, to life itself? The very thought is a sobering reminder of the stakes involved and the urgent need for vigilance and diplomacy in a world on a hair trigger. Imagine a world where major cities vanish in an instant. Picture the vibrant life, the bustling streets and the towering skyscrapers disappearing in the blink of an eye, leaving behind nothing but silence and emptiness. London, Tokyo, New York, Paris, all reduced to smouldering rubble in the blink of an eye. These iconic cities, known for their culture, history and economic power, would be nothing more than memories, buried under layers of ash and debris. The current nuclear arsenal has the firepower to do just that. Thousands of warheads, each with the potential to unleash unprecedented destruction, lie in wait, a grim reminder of the destructive capabilities we possess. With enough warheads to target every city with a population over 100,000, the devastation would be unimaginable. Cities that are home to millions, centers of human achievement and progress, could be wiped off the map in an instant. The immediate death toll would be staggering, reaching into the billions. Emergency responders would be overwhelmed, and the infrastructure we rely on would collapse, plunging survivors into chaos and despair. The lucky ones would perish in the initial blast. In a fraction of a second, their lives would be extinguished, sparing them the horrors that would follow. Others would face a slower, more agonizing demise from radiation sickness, or succumb to injuries and burns in the shattered remnants of civilization. The suffering would be prolonged, a grim testament to the aftermath of such an event. This isn't just a thought experiment. It's a stark warning, a call to recognize the gravity of the situation we find ourselves in. The potential for such destruction is a terrifying reality, a consequence of humanity's mastery of the atom and our failure to fully grasp its implications. We must confront this reality and work towards a future where such devastation remains a distant nightmare, never to be realized. Let's consider a specific, albeit terrifyingly hypothetical scenario. One that pushes the boundaries of our worst fears and imaginations. Imagine all 15,000 nuclear warheads simultaneously detonated in a single location, say the heart of the Amazon rainforest. This lush, vibrant ecosystem, home to countless species, would be the epicenter of an unprecedented catastrophe. The immediate impact would be apocalyptic. The sheer force of the explosion would obliterate everything within its vicinity, leaving behind a barren wasteland. A fireball 50 kilometers wide would engulf the rainforest, instantly vaporizing everything in its path. The intense heat would turn the lush greenery into ash in mere seconds. A shockwave more powerful than any earthquake or hurricane would flatten trees within a 3,000 square kilometer radius, its fury felt for thousands of kilometers beyond. The ground would tremble and the air would be filled with the deafening roar of destruction. The fires ignited by the blast would rage across the continent, releasing billions of tons of soot and smoke into the atmosphere. These fires would burn uncontrollably, consuming everything in their path and creating an inferno of unimaginable proportions. The sky would darken, the sun a distant memory. Thick clouds of smoke and ash would block out sunlight, casting a shadow over the earth and plunging regions into perpetual twilight. A global nuclear winter would descend, plunging the planet into an extended period of cold and darkness. Temperatures would drop drastically, agriculture would fail, and the very fabric of life on Earth would be threatened. This nightmare scenario serves as a stark reminder of the devastating power of nuclear weapons and the importance of striving for a world free of such threats. The aftermath of such a massive nuclear detonation would be as devastating as the initial blast. The billions of tons of debris and smoke ejected into the atmosphere would block out the sun, leading to a phenomenon known as nuclear winter. Global temperatures would plummet, throwing the planet's delicate climate system into disarray. Crops would fail, leading to widespread famine. The delicate balance of ecosystems would collapse, triggering mass extinctions. The very fabric of life on Earth would be irrevocably altered. The survivors of the initial blasts, if any, would face a world ravaged by radiation, starvation, and disease. The lucky ones, perhaps, would be those who perished in the initial inferno. Section 5. The dinosaur bomb, imagining the unimaginable, but even the simultaneous detonation of our current nuclear arsenal pales compared to what we could unleash if we truly dedicated ourselves to destruction. Imagine a bomb, not of plutonium or uranium, but of all the fissile material on Earth. A bomb with the destructive power of the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. The impact of such a weapon would be beyond catastrophic. The Earth's crust would buckle and heave, unleashing earthquakes and volcanic eruptions on a scale never before witnessed. The oceans would boil, the atmosphere ignite. The very planet, scarred and broken, would be rendered almost unrecognizable. Life as we know it would cease to exist. Section 6. A world in ashes. Life after the deluge. In the aftermath of such a cataclysm, what would become of our planet? The answer is bleak. The surface would be scorched and barren, shrouded in a perpetual twilight. Temperatures would fluctuate wildly from searing heat during the day to freezing cold at night. The oceans, once teeming with life, would become stagnant and toxic. The air would be unbreathable, thick with radioactive dust and ash. The Earth would resemble an alien world, hostile to all but the hardiest of life forms. This is the potential future we face if we fail to learn from the mistakes of the past. The path to such a future is paved with ignorance, fear, and hatred. Section 7. The unending echo-radioactive contamination. The destructive power of a nuclear explosion isn't confined to the initial blast and its immediate aftermath. The invisible killer, radiation, lingers long after the firestorms have subsided and the dust has settled. Radioactive isotopes, released in vast quantities during a nuclear detonation, contaminate everything they touch. The soil, the water, the very air we breathe become poisoned. This invisible threat can linger for decades, even centuries, causing cancer, birth defects, and genetic mutations. The legacy of a nuclear war is a poisoned world, a world where survival is a constant struggle against an invisible enemy. Section 8. The choice before us, destruction or diplomacy. The scenarios we've explored, while hypothetical, highlight the terrifying stakes involved in the continued existence of nuclear weapons. The power we possess, the power to annihilate our own species and countless others, is a burden we can no longer afford to bear. The choice before us is clear: destruction or diplomacy. We can continue down the path of fear and mistrust, clinging to these weapons as a misguided security blanket. Or we can choose a different path, a path of dialogue, cooperation, and disarmament. The future of our species, indeed the future of life on Earth, hinges on the choices we make today. Section 9, a future free from fear, the promise of disarmament. Imagine a world free from the threat of nuclear annihilation, a world where the billions spent on weapons of mass destruction are redirected towards education, healthcare, and the fight against poverty and climate change. A world where international cooperation and diplomacy, not fear and mistrust, guide our actions. This is the promise of a world free from nuclear weapons. It is a future worth striving for, a future where humanity's ingenuity and compassion, not our capacity for destruction, define our legacy. Let us choose wisely. Let us choose life. Let us choose a future free from fear.